It's great to have you with us. I'm Daniel Che for Arirang News. Let's start with our first story. Half an hour, that's all it took for Korea's rival parties to agree to disagree on how the electoral map should be redrawn ahead of an upcoming general election in spring. The chairman and floor leaders of the ruling Saenuri and the main opposition New Politics Alliance for Democracy met Sunday evening, but failed to settle their differences on the matter. Time is running out, though, as preliminary candidate registration for the April general election is set to begin on December 15th. A delay in determining the nation's electoral districts is likely to cause confusion among candidates as to where they should register. Meanwhile, the ongoing turmoil in the main opposition party reached another boiling point on Sunday. Former party co-chair Ahn Cheol-soo again demanded a change in the party's leadership, saying it's a necessary move to win back voter support in the upcoming general election. The software mogul turned lawmaker, who co-chaired the party last year with current leader Moon Jae-in, called on Moon to join him in reforming the party. Pundits interpret the statement as an ultimatum that Ahn is planning to leave the party if Moon turns him down. Moon rebuffed Ahn's previous proposal for revamping the party back in September. North Korea is reportedly building new battleships to counter the ones in South Korea. Experts say the push comes after the North's defeat in past confrontations. Kim Ji-yeon reports.
A fierce battle in the West Sea between the navies of the two Koreas in November 2009 left North Korea with a heavily damaged ship and more than 10 casualties. The South sustained no major damage to its ships or soldiers. From that point on, the North has avoided direct engagement with the South at sea, but that could soon change if recent reports prove to be true. Satellite images taken last October show that North Korea is building new battleships. And the report by Seoul-based YTN, a 200-ton battleship is seen anchored at Sinpo Port in South Hamgyong Province in North Korea. The vessel, estimated to be 45 meters long and approximately 5 meters tall, is tethered to what looks like a crane. YTN says the ship appears to have been assembled in another location and moved to the port for weapons to be installed. That's on top of the anti-ship cruise missiles the North tested in February, which were launched from high-speed vessels that run at 90 kilometers per hour. Experts say confrontations like the 2009 battle known as Taechung have prompted the North to act.
North Korea has decided to build new battleships to encounter the ones in the south after it realized its ships were outdated and not suitable for battle, as seen in its defeat in the battles of Yeonpyeong and Taechung.
North Korea is believed to have around 430 battleships, most of which are presumed to be outdated. Kim Ji-yeon, Arirang News.
Staying on the topic of military capabilities and upgrades, South Korea is planning to develop drones with stealth capabilities as part of its strategy for countering North Korea's weapon systems. According to an unnamed defense official who spoke to Yonhap News on Sunday, the stealth unmanned aerial vehicles will stand by at higher altitudes than other aerial defense systems owned by Pyongyang and will be capable of thwarting the regime's long-range missiles and mobile missile systems, including its multiple rocket launchers and self-propelled guns and Scud, Rodong, and Musudan missiles. It's an expensive project, with the initial research phase alone costing more than $327,000. Applied research will begin in 2017. This is just one in a series of 31 such projects South Korea plans to conduct by the end of next year. Korea is seeing a steady recovery in investment and consumer spending, but it looks like there's more to be done to slow the downward slide in exports. Lee Ji-won has the details.
Consumer confidence is up, but exports are down, a trend in Korea that seems likely to continue for a while. According to the Korea Development Institute on Sunday, the Composite Consumer Sentiment Index for Korea ticked up to 106 in November, up 1 point from the month before. Another key indicator, the Coincident Composite Index, which measures current economic conditions, also rose in October. Investment has risen too, with plant and equipment investment rising 5% in October and investment in transportation going up 8%. Exports, however, are still sluggish. Korea's outbound shipments for November decreased by 4.7% from the same month last year. Although the dip is smaller than for the previous month, when exports dropped almost 16%, most industries recorded a decline. Except for the auto and semiconductor industries, exports in the mining and manufacturing industries also slid 2.5%. And according to KDI, things aren't likely to get much better this year, as the OECD's composite leading indicators for Korea, which include its business tendency and consumer opinion surveys, are also on a downward trend. Lee Ji-won, Arirang News.
All public corporations in Korea will adopt the so-called wage peak system next year, which is part of the government's push to reform the country's rigid labor market. Korea's finance ministry said Sunday all 313 public companies listed in Korea have agreed to introduce the system next year, which is expected to create more than 4,400 new jobs. As for the nation's major conglomerates, so far about half have chosen to adopt the system. The government says the wage peak system will provide aging employees with greater job security while freeing up funds to hire younger workers. But there is a catch. Older employees will be given lower wages in the years before their retirement. And with the implementation of the system, the mandatory retirement age is pushed back to 60 from the current mark of between 50 and 55. Korea is considering adopting daylight savings time next year in order to give the economy a boost. Under the system, clocks are advanced by an hour during the summer months, giving people an extra hour of daylight. The finance ministry said Sunday that the practice, along with other efforts to boost consumption, is needed to guard against unfavorable conditions such as the continuing decrease in Korea's exports and the slowdown in China. However, many are skeptical about the plan and says it would only lengthen the workday, which is what happened when the system was implemented back in 1987 and 1988. A stabbing attack at East London subway station that left 3 people injured is being investigated as a terrorist incident by British police. The attack took place on Saturday, just days after the British Parliament approved airstrikes in Syria against Islamic State targets. The attacker reportedly claimed he did it for Syria. 1 person was stabbed in the throat, while 2 others sustained minor injuries. Police confirmed that they had taken a suspect into custody but did not identify him. The incident follows a report by Prime Minister David Cameron that British intelligence has thwarted 7 terror attacks on British soil in the past year. A Spanish ship laden with treasure was discovered in Colombia. The Colombian government claims the ship was found off the port city of Cartagena on November 27th, though it did not reveal the exact location of the wreck. The San Jose was carrying cargo estimated to be worth at least $1 billion. The gold and gems on board were collected from the South American colonies for the Spanish king, but the vessel sunk after being attacked by a British warship in June 1708. Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos said the treasure will eventually be put on display at a museum to be built in Cartagena. But first, a dispute over the ownership of the wreck is expected between the Colombian government and the U.S.-based salvage company Sea Search Armada, which once also claimed treasure. Korea, arguably the most wired country in the world, is no slouch when it comes to embracing new technology and trends. That's why it should come as no surprise that there's been a dramatic spike in the number of Koreans who don wearable smart devices. According to data from the Science Ministry, the number of subscribers to wearable telecommunication devices surpassed 320,000 in October. That's up more than 90 times from some 3,500 a year ago. Internet of Things devices and smartwatches have been the biggest attractions, while tablet PCs are quickly becoming a thing of the past, with the number of their subscribers edging down by tens of thousands in the cited period. The Korea Pavilion was a hit at this year's Milan Expo in Italy. The venue offered millions of visitors more fun and interactive ways to get better acquainted with Korean culture. Our Won Ji-hyun shows us some of the attractions that contributed to its success.
A room full of onggi jars filled with classic Korean dishes. It's a treat for the eyes and the mind as visitors get to learn about the science behind these traditional Korean pottery.
They're so beautiful. I heard these pots have microscopic holes that let the air flow in and out of the onggi.
This is the Korea Pavilion at this year's Milan Expo, which attracted more than 2.3 million visitors from May to October. Korea's Culture Ministry reported that the pavilion won 2nd place for exhibition design that effectively showcased Korean cuisine and culture.
Many people seem to agree that the Korean Pavilion was the best exhibition hall at this year's Expo. That's why it has the longest lines.
Even the Expo officials praised the Korea Pavilion as one of the most popular venues at this year's event. Its strategy for attracting visitors included fun elements like food and entertainment.
We made sure the pavilion had some interesting factors prepared for our European visitors. All we had to do was attract the Expo visitors to our venue so they can stay for the delicious Korean food.
The ministry also noted some positive signs for Korea's tourism industry, as nearly 80% of those who visited the pavilion said they're interested in coming to Korea in the future. Won Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
And now the weather. If you're in Korea, your week will get started with clear skies, free of rain or snow, but you will still want to dress warm. Sub-zero temperatures are expected on Monday morning in most parts of Korea, including Seoul, Jeonju, and Gangneung, which will start the day at -2 degrees Celsius. The mercury will rise back up to 8 in those areas, with the digits staying above 0 nationwide. And now let's check out the weather conditions outside of Korea, around the world. And that's a wrap for us. Thank you for watching. Do wish you a great start to a new week.